Welcome back. This is part three of my building the Black Pearl Golden Edition, my added title 2026. This is the second time I've built the Golden Edition from ZHL. And experience is a great teacher, and it's a lot smoother for me this second build. I've made some pretty good progress, and you can see I'm all clamped up at this moment. So let me get into the video, show you how I accomplished the stage that I'm at. I will mention that I'm going to be gone for the next 2.5 weeks, so there'll be a delay for part four. But part three is going well, so let me show you how I got here. I have finished my wiring for now. The front of the ship is complete. The mid deck where the grates are is complete. And when I get back here, I will do lighting around where the captain's quarters are. But you can see this piece goes approximately here, number 23, and the captain's quarters are behind this. There's a frame that comes around here and it sticks out a little bit, and it has windows, but you really don't see into the captain's quarters. What I'm going to do is possibly make my own windows, cut a hole in here so you can see inside. I have put mirrors in, and there you can even see my face. And if I'm going to put just two lanterns or candles, haven't decided, on each side, and you'll get all kinds of reflections on those mirrors from different angles. That's my plan. We'll see how it works out. This is a good view of the effect that the flickering lights will have on the ship, although they won't be completely visible. The two on the far right, you'll be able to see through windows. Same thing with the two that are at the front, but the ones that are in the center of the ship, you'll just be able to see the flicker through the grates. This is a good time. I need to get this deck glued down, so I'm going to grab some small clamps and just pull these down. Now I have everything secured how I want. Just a few extra clamps on the outside edge to get everything nice and flush. There is a little mark. This is the rear part of the ship, and there's a little blue or a little brown etched mark, and that's where this goes down to. There is a support. It says 12A that goes under the deck, and there is a 12B. I haven't seen anything in the instructions, but I believe it's the same thing that goes on the other side. So I will put 12B right there. And you can see there's a little brown line that's been etched in. That gives you the mark where it should be and where the deck should come down to. This framing was never very clear to me because it doesn't show the other side. Logically, you would need to make one facing one direction and the other facing the other direction, so it will fit in this cavity. This piece I noticed kind of hung over a little further on the ship, and I was just going to have to file this off. I also want the back to match up smoothly, so for example, this back part, I ran through this sander. I'm going to do the same thing here, because anything that has this dark burnt on it will not adhere as well. The glue will not stick as well if there's a lot of burnt residue. A little bit is okay. This would probably be fine. It's not wiping off of my finger, but if it wipes off, you need to clean it off some. I'll get this glued in. Once it dries, I'll come back and I'll file or sand these so they all match up properly. I will also mention on the 22As, every one of these small tips broke off. I just glued it back on. It was just way too thin of a support. There was no way it wasn't going to break. I use wood glue on these. It gives you time to work. If you're not aware, but you can heat wood glue up and it'll become pliable, and you can pry it off if you ever need to. I glued all that framing in the bow of the ship. Now I've taken small bits of balsa wood, glued it in. You can see it's in there fairly rough, but balsa wood is extremely soft, so it's very easy to sand. That's pretty much it. I'll touch it up with a little hand sanding to get it exactly how I want it, or a little file probably. With just hardly any work at all, it didn't take me more than a couple minutes. Now I have a very smooth surface with a lot of area to glue to. I'm skipping ahead to page 10 because I need to make this window casing unit so I know where to cut out part 23, because I want that to be open so you can see further into the ship. So I'm in the process. It's just kind of take your time, and it does fit together. I'm doing much better this time than the first time I ever built a ship. I put just a very small amount of glue on these, and then after it was almost set, I did put this in place so I would have the proper angle. They do slant inward just slightly. Now I'm soaking the back window frames in some hot water so that I can bend it. I used to have a bending tool that had a nice round shape about like that. It burned out, so I've just been using my soldering iron, and it works pretty well actually. I've had this soaking in the water for a good 5 minutes, and I actually had started and did not hit record on the camera, so I already have a little bit of a bend. I'm just going to get a little bit more. This is a nice hot soldering iron, so be careful so you don't burn yourself. And I go very slowly. I'm not forcing anything. I'm just feeling for when the wood starts to bend just a little. Don't put any extra pressure. I don't want to break it. You don't necessarily have to get it all the way. You'll be able to flex it just a little bit, and I should be to that point. And you can also, if you have something that's about the right shape, for example, this is probably about right, I could also tape this on there and get a little bit of a bend. Just so happens this tape roll is about the curvature that I want. So I'm going to put that rubber band on there. I'm going to put a second one. And I'm going to let that dry in that position. It's not quite all the way around, but I don't think it needs to be. And once it dries, we'll see how well it fits. Here this piece is pre-assembled. I'm not going to do any more work on it until I get to the point of installing it. I just needed this so I would know where these windows match up. If you read further on in the instructions, even though on the first or second page it says do not cut these off, that some people do, later on the instructions they do have you cut them off. I think the reason they have you leave them on temporarily is to help stabilize this, but do not glue this to those. You're going to glue it right along this edge here. I was able to approximate where the this arched window section on the back of the ship would have been, so I have cut out that piece on this number 23. I have permanently attached these, and they go flush with the bottom of this deck. I think that's an important step. Up here I have a little raised section. If that's supposed to be flush, I will just sand that off, and that should work out. On the back part, it matches up fairly well. This is the opposite side, number 23. I just wanted to mention that you've got to put this support for your cannon barrel, because some of these are fake. They don't have the full appointment of cannon accessories. And this one, once you glue this on, you don't have access to it. So make sure you glue that one on. I'm looking way ahead at the lanterns for the back of the ship, and if you look at the instructions, it has these parts G15, 16, 17, 18, and I think that's 14. these are very tiny little pieces that I don't see how those are going to support these that well. And I'm afraid if I bump them, I will snap them off. I had trouble with that the last time I made this ship. So I'm going to go a little extreme. I have this copper tubing and it just happens to fit right there. I think I'm going to mount this, obviously cut it shorter, make 3 of them, and have it just cut off right where that would go on the back of the ship. I think it'll support it a lot better. I can put extra wire if I ever need to. I can disconnect it at the joint, pull it out, replace a light bulb or whatever needs to be replaced. My clamp's a little bit in the way, but I think you'll get the idea. Drill a hole right in that corner, have the same slant as this, put one in each corner, one in the center, and do it from the inside of the ship. And then I can just build this piece out further and cover it with wood. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lose a little space here, but I don't think it's going to matter that much. That's it for part 3. Don't forget, I'll be gone for a few weeks, but I will return and pick up right where I left off. If you find the video helpful, click the like button. I think it helps with viewership somehow. I'm not really sure. But everyone else says click the like button, so you might as well click my like button. Anyway, have a great day. We'll see you next time.